Hello YouTube and welcome to Groundworks. Today I will be reviewing Kerbal Space Program. Kerbal Space Program is a game that has been in alpha and beta for like 4 years now, and it has only released recently on Steam on the 27th of April, so a few days ago. A question, so most of the people that have been reviewing have been playing it for a long time, and they're just gonna evaluate the version 1.0, which is the initial launch version. Well, I would like to take this opportunity to actually review the Kerbal Space Program as from the perspective of just as a game, not as an update in terms of from beta to the actual release. So the first question that you might want to ask yourself is, what is Kerbal Space Program? It is a game about managing your own space agency, for example, like NASA or ESA, where you basically manage different aspects. So engineering, like building rockets, planes, then financials, earning contracts, making money, etc. But I digress a little bit. The most simple and one-line explanation about what is Kerbal Space Program: it's a game about flinging small green men and women into space using ridiculous amount of self-engineered rockets and planes. So it is basically a game where you take small green men and women called Kerbals, and you basically assemble rockets, planes, and just fling them into space and different planets, different orbits, etc. So it is a game about the exploration of a solar system, and it's also helps in gaining understanding of physics in general and orbital mechanics. So that's some actual physics knowledge. So this game has its own educational value in itself. It also presents you with different challenges. Engineering challenges like designing rockets, designing planes, because it involves the actual physics in the game. And as of latest update, the aero model has been updated, so now it is actually behaving very, very realistic. When it comes, second aspect of the game is actually flying those rockets. So getting them into space, getting them into orbit, landing them on the different planets and moons, and also orbital operations like space stations, bases, etc. Kerbal Space Program is also a game about explosions, lots and lots of explosions, and it has a very steep learning curve, and expect that you will fail often and fail in ridiculous ways until you actually do get somewhere. However, that sense of accomplishment when you actually get somewhere and succeed in your either first orbit or the first space station or the first orbit landing on a, say, moon or Minmus or different other planets, then you actually feel the joy of actually playing this game. So, that is roughly what is Kerbal Space Program. How does it actually play? The play goes as such. In a nutshell, you design a rocket or a plane with a specific purpose in mind. Whether it's just getting into space, getting into the orbit of your home planet called Kerbal, or getting into some different planet or moon or whatever. And then you actually, after designing it, you test it, you fly it. And more often than not, especially in the beginning, it will blow up, it will disassemble, it will fail in all kinds of ridiculous ways. But that's what this game is about, also making mistakes and learning from them. Then you basically redesign a rocket and you try again. Okay, so let us go a little bit deeper into the game. There are 3 basic modes. There's the sandbox, where you can do whatever you will. You have a big assortment of parts, different parts, space plane parts, rocket parts, wheels, so which help you to design your own rockets or planes. And with them you can do whatever you will. So all of them are available at the start if you're playing the sandbox. Here, as you can see in this example, which I'll show you, is I'm basically playing a sandbox game and I'm assembling a plane. So putting the fuselage, putting wings, making sure that I respect the basic principles of a plane design, such as center of mass, center of lift. There's a ton of tutorials that you can find on the net because this game has a fantastic community. It has an awesome community on the Reddit. I will post the link to the community in the forums. And it has also generating a tremendous amount of YouTube videos because it has such steep learning curve, and the community is helpful towards each other. They help each other how to design rockets, how to design planes, troubleshooting and whatnot. And also it has a fantastic modding community, but I'll come to that later. So the first mode, sandbox. You saw us design a plane and we actually fly it. So basically, getting it into the air, and as you can see, it basically failed miserably. I was going too fast, and the sheer amount of heat generated made it pop my capsule or the cockpit. So once again, heating is a real thing, especially as of release 1.0. So that is sandbox for you. Science is a little bit more, in my opinion, it's a little bit simpler because you don't have all the parts available at the start. So you start with some very basic stuff. As you can see us here, we're building a very, very simple rocket that will actually take us just into the atmosphere. Then we will perform some science experiments and therefore get some science. Science is a sort of a currency through which you unlock unlocking more parts and by going through this tech tree. So this, what you can see here, is a tech tree, and by gaining science you unlock different parts of the tech tree, and as you unlock more parts you can do more advanced stuff, so going into the orbit, going to different planets, landing on them, etc., etc. So science, in my opinion, is actually the easiest, and despite the sandbox giving you free hands, because science artificially restricts the amount of parts that you can start with, and that thus helps you a little bit gain understanding what that is you're doing, how are you progressing, how do you assemble rockets and stuff. Then comes the third mode, which is career. And the career is like a full-fledged career space agency, leading a full space agency. So what you do is, you have three types of resource. You have funds, you have science, and you have reputation. So the science works in the same way as in the science game, basically for unlocking more parts. Funds is equivalent of a currency, and it is important to be able to purchase different parts of the rocket. So in the career save, the actual rockets costs money, and money is funds. Also, you need also funds to unlock different, to buy different parts after you have researched them through the tech tree. And there are basically two ways how you earn money. By just going places, you earn a little bit degree. By returning the actual parts of the rockets that you went with, you get a refund. And also, most importantly, you perform contracts. So you can go into the mission control, and there you can ask to get some different contracts. First contract will be very basic: get into the atmosphere, set different height records. Then you will get more complex contracts like going into the orbit, deploying various satellites, going explore different moons of the Kerbal, like Moon or Minmus, and also going to different planets, establishing stations, etc., etc. You also have to gain the third resource, which is reputation. So by succeeding in missions, by succeeding in performing contracts, you gain reputation. And that reputation helps you to unlock more advanced contracts like satellites, roving, etc., etc. So my personal recommendation would be start with the science. It's not overwhelming amount of parts and no contracts, so easy to start and test. However, regardless of the mode chosen, I encourage you to celebrate your first orbit, first landing with the community, Reddit, as we have all there been once. All of us have tried once the first moon, first Minmus, first Duna, etc. So seeing how other people conquest this game is a big boon for the community. So this is basically the three modes: sandbox, science, and the career. Then we come to the question, is the game any good? Well, that question is, if you're a science buff and interested in space and exploration, like me, it's definitely a must-have. If you enjoy engineering planes and rockets and, trying out stuff, playing with physics, then it's definitely very, very good. If you like games that present a challenge that can be frustrating a bit at first, but you get a great sense of accomplishment once you succeed, this is most definitely a game for you. However, if you're looking something to be really guided by the hand and just look awesome without taking a little bit of time and effort to understand these challenges and the game in general, this might not be the best title for you. Okay, let's just quickly review from the technicals. Graphics, it's very decent. It's not that great. It's nice. But with the mods, which there are a lot of them, it can truly look beautiful. Sound-wise, it has a very nice score and a decent sound effects. However, once again, with mods, it can be amazing. You can get mods like chatter, which provides you a little bit background chatter, which add a lot to the atmosphere and immersion of the game. Then gameplay/difficulty-wise, I would say it's moderate. It is a little bit hard at start, but it gets easier as you go along. However, you can use different mods where you can make the game punishingly hard if you choose to. It has been in access for 4 years now, and it has been polished to a great degree. However, let us go through some plus and minuses. Positive: it has a solid gameplay, 3 modes that will keep you occupied for a long while. Second, incredible amount of mods that are easy to install that modify the game to make it even more awesome with really near infinite replayability. Third, you have fantastic support community, the best community I have seen in a computer game yet. And fourth, it is a very, very good educational tool for encouraging the passion for science, for learning, and for understanding physics and orbital mechanics in general. The downsides, if you'll choose to look at it from that side, it has average graphics, decent. I'm talking here about the stock game. Second, it can be sometimes punishingly hard. Sometimes you will fail in all kinds of ridiculous ways, and if that's not your thing, then this might be a deal breaker for you. Third, despite it being in access for already 4 years, there are still some bugs. There can still have bugs that are occurring, and sometimes your aircraft or rocket will just blow up without you realizing what the hell happened. Well, it comes with the game. For stock game, they're not so more frequent. However, the more mods you have installed, the more likely is the game to either see the bugs or that it crashes. Which brings us to the fourth and most and the biggest downside for me at the moment. This game is 32-bit, so it has the fixed memory cap. That means that you can install actually quite a great deal of mods. However, since it's a 32-bit application, it has a memory cap of 3.6 gig, and then past it crashes. This will hopefully be addressed and resolved in the future, with hopefully 64-bit release when the game gets moved to Unity 5. However, there is no ETA on that action per se. Alternatively, there is a workaround. If you don't mind playing a 64-bit release on Linux, well, then you can just play 64-bit even now on Linux and install all the mods that you want and just don't care. However, I found it to be very flexible. I currently play the game with around 67 mods. True, I'm using some tricks on how to actually reduce the memory footprint and stuff, but I can tell you that this is really an enjoyable game. So, is the game any good? Well, I leave that up to you for decide, given the positives and the negatives. Then we come to the point 4, is the game worth your money? Let's put it this way. If you are one of the profiles that I listed that for which the game is interesting, like the science buff, you enjoy planes, you're a space enthusiast, I have had this game since 2013. Since I have gotten it, I have gotten various deals on different other games through Steam and so on. So since then I've gotten around 45-50 games afterwards. Each I play up to 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and then come back to the Kerbal Space program. I have roughly a total of 135 games in my Steam library, with a total time played on all 134, approximately 232 combined. On KSP alone, I have well over 980 hours and no intention on stopping. So, basically, on KSP, I have like more than 4 times time played than all of my other games combined. So, without mods, as a stock vanilla, it is worth your money. It is worth definitely the asking price. However, with mods, it is my opinion that it's worth 10 times over the money that they are asking for it. The only thing that might be affected might be your social life. Okay, so this brings us to a rough conclusion of this review. I hope you like the video. If you like the video, do like. I have a lot more KSP content on my channel. Make sure to check out my playlists, and thank you very much for watching. This is Groundworks signing off.